Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we are discussing property title issues. Specifically, this actually comes down to the issue of building permits on Thai property. And understand, while not title per se in the sense that Shanod or Norsor Samgor is property title types here in Thailand, building permits, I would say, are akin to property title to the point that, talking about them in the context of Thai property generally is not unwarranted. I thought of making this video after reading a recent posting on X from Thai Enquirer, that's at Thai Enquirer on X, under the headline, Samui quote-unquote ghost permit scandal widens, over 10 fake building licenses suspected. Quoting directly, authorities in Koh Samui have expanded an investigation into a construction permit forgery racket with more than 10 fraudulent licenses now suspected and concerns growing over unsafe buildings across the island. The scandal first surfaced on March 21 after officials warned developers and villa owners to verify their permits following the discovery of forged government documents. The fake permits used to approve construction projects carried forged signatures of multiple officials and were not recorded in the official system. Investigators say a civil servant exploited administrative loopholes by falsifying signatures of up to 5 supervising officers to create seemingly legitimate approvals. The permits were allegedly sold to developers, many linked to luxury villa projects, for around 100,000 baht or more per license, allowing them to bypass proper inspections. Initial checks have identified at least 10 suspicious permits, though officials believe the true number could be higher as a full audit of past approvals is now underway. Authorities are also probing possible links to external brokers who may have connected developers to the scheme. The mayor has ordered a disciplinary investigation and signaled criminal action with police complaints expected to be filed. Officials are also examining whether senior personnel were involved, saying it is unlikely the operation was carried out by a single junior officer. The case has intensified scrutiny of construction practices on the island, particularly hillside luxury villas, many owned by foreign investors. And I've discussed this in videos at length. What do you mean owned? As we've discussed, foreign nationals are prohibited from owning land in Thailand and from owning real estate outright. There are a number of mechanisms that have been used over the years in color of law fashion to work around these issues. And some are, as I've discussed in other videos, there is a narrow subset of cases where possible usage of land in a corporate context might be bona fide. But again, and for usage by a foreigner or foreign involvement. But those cases are rather rare. And look, I've been reading a lot about crackdowns that have been happening across the islands down in the Gulf here in Thailand. And this would seem to be in line with a broader effort to not only scrutinize, but where necessary, basically even seize and possibly for lack of a better term, disinherit, but seize and appropriate and even put through legal execution department matters pertaining to foreign ownership of Thai property. And we've discussed this at length that, look, authorities are serious about this and they now have the digital tools to ascertain, who has what and who is using things as sort of a front or various means of chicanery to obfuscate from the issue of foreigners utilizing property here in inappropriate ways. At the end of the day, foreigners cannot own property, and utilizing, again, color of law mechanisms to get around that restriction can cause a lot of problems. On top of that, this is a whole other issue where we've got the possibility of fake building permits, which I have to wonder where the inducement for that came from. I'm not necessarily saying it's from foreigners per se, but perhaps it could be coming from the foreign demand for these things, which is causing there to be demand within the market to get these things built and done. And where it's all built on, again, color of law when it comes to, the issue of foreign ownership to begin with, and then on top of it, outright fraud pertaining to the building permits, man, that is a recipe for something that I don't think any foreign national wants to really be involved in a jurisdiction where they're not, first of all, in many cases, they're not even fluent in the language and don't really understand the underlying details of the documentation pertaining to their rights and obligations. But on top of that, there's also the issue of, just the fact that this was done, if it was done, and again, allegations are not necessarily adjudicated fact, but if these allegations are true that bribery occurred for, false licensing, then, the whole thing could be demolished. We've seen situations like that where permits were not done correctly and they've said, you need to tear the building down. It's not a matter of fines or anything. It's just this needs to be rectified that way. Again, not exactly certain how this will play out. This is a pretty big deal. I think it will have a substantial impact on the foreign community, likely in Samui, possibly broader implications throughout Thailand, as we're seeing many reports of similar things going on, similar scrutiny, heightened scrutiny on foreign nationals, especially those that Thailand views as encroaching on Thailand. And there's no other word for that. It's a concern. It's one of the reasons for the restriction on foreign property is that Thais don't want to be overrun by foreigners in any way, shape, or form. It's a valid concern for their national sovereignty. So remains to be seen how this all plays out. We'll certainly be keeping people updated on this channel as the situation evolves.